North York woman accused of horrible animal abuse facing 13 animal welfare charges is now also facing 4 fraud-related charges. Hey guys, welcome back. I've got an update for you today on the Stephanie Redlick case. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I recently posted a video covering an animal welfare and neglect case that happened here in Ontario. Go watch that video first if you haven't already, because if you don't, then you're going to be missing a lot of information and you're going to have a lot of questions. I'll link it in the description and you can also just find it over on my channel. This is what it looks like. But a quick recap for everybody. Stephanie Redlick, a 28-year-old woman, had several horses that she allegedly essentially starved and deprived of water, medical care, and proper hoof care. Her negligence caused a foal to die, and instead of calling a dead stock company, she dumped it in the snow. After she left it in the stall with its living mother for 3 days. Her neglect also caused 2 of her horses to have to be euthanized after they were relinquished. One, a 5-year-old thoroughbred gelding named Seattle Sunrise, and one, a 4-year-old mare named Midnight. Yes, I will keep saying their names because they deserve justice and they deserve to be remembered. And yes, I have to keep saying allegedly because none of this has been definitively proven in a court of law, and the animal welfare charges may never be proven in a court of law because Animal Welfare Services chose not to charge her using the criminal code. Yeah. After I posted my last video, I received an email from Marie Bennett, the founder of banhorseslaughter.com, an amazing website that covers neglect cases, important equine welfare topics, and runs petitions and fundraisers to help horses in need. Ban Horse Slaughter's posts were integral to my ability to be able to make my last video. I would not have been able to make my last video if they had not covered everything so clearly. Marie told me that Animal Welfare Services actually chose not to criminally charge Redlick for the neglect accusations, even though they had the option to. Their charges are laid under the umbrella of their rules and regulations, which is a complete failure on Animal Welfare Services' part, in my opinion. Although we don't know why they chose to do this. Sometimes law enforcement will choose to not charge a person for one thing if it means that they can charge them for something else that may have a steeper penalty. So maybe that's what's going on here, I don't know. I won't pretend to know what's going on in their heads or in their offices, nor will I pretend to have a super strong understanding of the legal system. I have a hard time trusting them to do the right thing after the way they completely botched this entire case. Right now, we don't know if Stephanie is actually going to go to court for the animal neglect charges or if she is just going to straight up plead guilty. Apparently, these charges can sometimes be put off for up to a year. I briefly mentioned in my last video that Stephanie was being charged for fraud and theft, but I didn't go too in depth because we didn't have a lot of information about it, but now we've got a little bit more background, so we're gonna go over all of that. So the OPP, which is the Ontario Provincial Police, for those of you that are not from Ontario, started a fraud investigation back in February of this year after receiving a complaint involving transportation and financial irregularities of livestock being transported from a farm in Tate Township and sold at a Cookstown stockyard sale in September of 2024. Through this investigation, Redlick was identified as a suspect and a warrant for her arrest was issued and then acted upon on June 27th by the Toronto Police. She is now being accused of fraud totaling more than $26,000, theft over $5,000, making forged documents, and false pretenses with intent to defraud using cattle worth more than $5,000. Stephanie, you have been getting up to way too much in your very few years of adulthood. I was talking with my mom about this case the other day, and I was telling her about the new fraud and theft related charges, and she asked me how old Stephanie was, and I told her 28, and she was really surprised because she was expecting to hear like 50, 55. And my initial assumption, because I didn't learn how old Stephanie was until I was literally finishing editing my last video and I knew about this whole case from February, the entire time I was assuming that she was at least 35 to maybe 45. Because I mean, to be 28 years old and have done all of this, she was irresponsibly breeding, claiming to run a reputable horse rescue, starved 2 horses, allegedly, killed a foal, allegedly, and committed so much fraud and theft, allegedly, all by the age of 28. She's an overachiever, I guess. I don't know. So Stephanie appeared in Zoom court this past Thursday, July 24th, which I know is a wild sentence. Zoom court? Zoom court. Like, I know that we were doing virtual court during the pandemic, but why are we still doing it? It just allows people to be completely non-compliant and irritating, which is exactly what happened here. We are going to be reading through Corey Warren's thoughts and recounting of the court proceedings. Corey Warren lives on the property that Stephanie was leasing, and he was one of the very first whistleblowers for this case. He worked hard to get the necessary people involved so that the horses could get the help that they needed. Once he saw the horrible neglect that was happening and witnessed the horrible behavior of Stephanie and her father, he worked hard to implement the Innkeepers Act due to non-payment of rent and put together a plan to save the horses. So thank you, Corey, for everything that you've done for the horses. Corey actually reached out to me as well and sent me a lovely little message. We had a great little interaction, and he said he had the pleasure of meeting and interacting with both Stephanie and her father, and can't think of a single nice thing to say about either of them. They actually attempted to trespass after they were banned from the property and then made completely baseless and horrible accusations about Corey to the police. Just classy at every turn, Stephanie. Corey also shared with me his personal favorite photo of Stephanie because I did not really have any photos of Stephanie's face in the last video. I don't know what to tell you, but this is a great little photo of you. So let's get to Corey's recounting of the court proceedings. Stephanie Redlick appeared via Zoom today in Midland Criminal Court for her first appearance in connection with several criminal charges related to livestock theft and forgery. When initially called upon by the judge, Ms. Redlick expressed concern with appearing by video, claiming CTV News is stalking me. And then when the judge insisted that she appear on video, her response was, "I'm having technical issues." The judge instructed her to return to a virtual breakout room to resolve the issue. When called upon a second time later in the morning, she was once again returned to a breakout room to resolve her issue. Court resumed in the afternoon and Ms. Redlick appeared via video. She seemed cheerful and somewhat bouncy, participating from her car and wearing sunglasses. Why are you in your car? That is just so wildly unprofessional. And sunglasses! Redlick stated, "My tech people have gotten my video working." What tech people? Who in your car is making your tech work? What tech people do you have? You don't have tech people. Unless they assigned one to her. I don't know. When asked by the judge to remove her sunglasses, she claimed she had recently undergone eye surgery and needed them due to it being bright. Now, look, I'm not saying she's lying, but I'm also not saying I believe her. I think she is probably trying to avoid there being more public footage and photos of her so that she can protect her identity. Which, that ship has sailed, Stephanie. Over 13,000 people saw my last video covering your case. They have seen what you look like. CTV has reported on you. Ban Horse Slaughter has reported on you. So has Aurelia Matters. And the entirety of the Ontario Equestrian Connection Facebook group, which has over 40,000 members, have all seen posts related to you. It is out there. There is no hiding anymore. Ms. Redlick, represented by a legal aid attorney, chose to waive the formal reading of the charges against her. Her court appearance was brief with no substantive matters addressed. The case was adjourned and is scheduled to return on August 21st, 2025. In my opinion, based on my observation and experience, her demeanor appeared uninterested, disrespectful, and overly casual given the serious nature of the charges. She displayed little awareness or concern about the legal situation she is facing. Honestly, this all sounds very on brand for Stephanie, and none of it is surprising to me. But it does illustrate for us what kind of person we're dealing with here. She doesn't care. Now, Stephanie is scheduled to return to court on August 21st. I'm not sure if that one will be Zoom or if it will be in person. If it is a Zoom court, then I will try to get on to that Zoom call so that I can watch it. But either way, I will make sure to give you guys an update when it happens. So my thoughts on this. While I would obviously really like her to be charged for the animal neglect and welfare charges as well, at the end of the day, I just want her charged with something, with anything. And if the fraud and theft charges stick, my guess is that the penalties for those charges will actually be worse than the penalties for any animal welfare related charges. Which is a problem in and of itself. I mean, people who are found guilty of animal abuse and neglect should get prison, always, period. But if the fraud and theft charges get her a harsher punishment than the animal welfare ones, then charge her for the fraud and the theft. I don't care what she goes to prison for as long as she's going to prison. Again, all of these accusations are alleged until proven in a court of law. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But you guys know my thoughts. All right, that is your update on the Stephanie Redlick case. Let me know all of your thoughts. Again, I will make another update after her next court date, and I will continue to update on this case until everything is neatly wrapped up in a little bow. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I post new videos every week. You can follow me over on Instagram and TikTok if you want to see more of me and more of my animals. I post more of like my daily life or just what I'm up to with my animals. I also post some short form educational content. I'm pretty active on both of those platforms, more like daily kind of stuff, and I will have those both linked in the description as well so that you can find them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until I see you in the next one, please remember to think critically.